in many places over the years. One being Bloomington Normal, which I'll get to in a minute, but I've lived in Indianapolis, Syracuse, Toronto, Atlanta, and I currently live and work in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Regarding my education, I studied at Bowling Green State University, from where I earned my BFA. However, my junior and half of my senior year of undergraduate school was spent here at Illinois State. And I was able to do that as part of the National Student Exchange Program. And with that program, you could choose any other school, an out-of-state school, and attend it with the same tuition as your home school. So I chose Illinois State out of the numerous schools that were available for two reasons. One was the curriculum, and I particularly remember reading the description of Harold Greger's color theory class, and that was pretty enticing. None of the other schools had anything comparable to that. And the other thing was the bios of the professors. I was very impressed with their accomplishments. So I came here, and it was that year and a half, and then after that I returned to Bowling Green, had my thesis show, and graduated from there. After a few years, I decided to go back to school and really dig in, and I didn't have to think too much about where I wanted to go. I knew that there was a lot more to learn from Harold Greger and the other professors here. Specifically, I had worked with Ken Holder also, and Ron Jackson. So another year and a half spent in Bloomington Normal, and I had my MS degree. But you know, I want to say that those 3 years spent in Bloomington Normal were formative, and I'm grateful that the stars lined up the way that they did. And fast forward to today, and I'm showing my work again in Bloomington. In the studio, I have a table of all of these drawings categorized by things like large shapes, small shapes, three-dimensional shapes, lines that look like trees, lines that look like the road, you know, any number of things, and they're, like I said, they're organized for quick access. So when I begin a new work, I select from those stacks randomly, and I say, all right, just get something down on the canvas, doesn't matter what. Over time, I come to very deliberately select different lines and shapes from any number of those drawings to create, I'm after a sense of wonder, a sense of sharing a sense of perplexity. I want to give the viewer something to question. And my color choices in that regard are such that, and again, I'm not interested in representing the landscape, I'm more interested in perception and how we interpret things. So my color choices are such that I'm not using non-representational color. I go to great lengths to avoid that. In other words, I don't want someone to come in and say, that blue, that must be the sky, or that green, that's the grass. I try to avoid all those references to, overt references to the landscape. The colors I do choose, sometimes there's a color that I just want to work with. One body of work, it was yellow, yellow, green. I just had to get that in there somehow. Other times, if I've made a kind of a dark body of work, I'll say next time I'm going to make like high chroma paintings. So it's always just kind of a way to keep moving forward and setting up challenges for myself in that regard. One of the challenges, of course, is deciding when a work is finished. And for me, until there's something compelling, and by that I mean I want to feel in my work that there's something peculiar. Sometimes at the end, I'm looking through all of those drawings for just the right line or shape to add, and it might take me an hour to find just the right thing. And it's not that there aren't many lines or shapes that will do the job, but only the ones that add that sense of oddness, again, peculiarity or perplexity, like what is that? That's what gets in there. And it might, after all that time searching, it might take me 5 minutes to paint it. I remember asking Harold Greger how he knows when a painting's done. And he had to think about that for a minute, and he said, when nothing can be taken away and nothing can be added, and there you have it. So that's my mantra. Regarding what I hope to share with the viewer is a sense of curiosity and I try to encourage the viewer's imagination by making the line work, the shapes, feel like they could expand off the edge of the format, or in other words, extend beyond the edge of the paper or the canvas. Like what happens when those lines go further? What are they doing? I also am striving, I think as I said before, to create a sense of wonder, to share, maybe a better way to put that is to share my sense of wonder with the viewer, and to replicate that for the viewer as they look at the work. Okay. Having spent those 3 years here in Bloomington Normal, and now having the opportunity to show my work here in the Armstrong Gallery, which incidentally the work was configured specifically for this space. But it feels like I've come full circle, and I'm very grateful to the Art Center to be able to show my work here.